Sametam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Good morning, everyone. We continue reading our Nama Rahasya. So we are in the part one. We are reading the approaching the ocean of holy name, and we completed reading. How waking up from the dream and more merciful than Krishna himself. The holy name is more merciful because Krishna as a holy name, only comes and sit in the heart, but holy name, enters the heart and purifies it. And today we are reading the two types of chanters. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura describes two types of sadhakas, practitioners, in his Sri Chaitanya Sikshamrita, sixth rainfall, third shower, the preliminary and the continuous. Preliminary practitioners increase their chanting gradually until they chant constantly without break. When their practice reaches this stage, they become continuous practitioners. Devotees in preparation or preliminary devotees do not yet possess a real taste for chanting the holy name. They still suffer from the bitter contamination of their almost beginningless ignorance. But by steadfastly chanting and counting a fixed number of rounds on their tulasi beads, they eventually attain the continuous stage. Because they sincerely try to emphasize chanting, their natural respect and affection for the name grows. Then they do not want to give up chanting. The wonderful side effects of this glorious stage are that karmic reactions, material desires, and the root of both ignorance are all destroyed. In other words, the road becomes free. It requires faith, determination, ultimately attraction to Krishna to gradually increase our chanting. All this and more is gained by association with advanced devotees. There is a law operating in this world that can be called the law of diminishing interest. This law refers to the phenomenon that enthusiasm for a new practice eventually spoils and lessens. For instance, despite the initial excitement almost all of us experienced when we first began to chant, we may notice that practical, even urgent situations seems to be constantly present themselves and demand our immediate attention, even when we are in the midst of spiritual practices. Doubts always also begin to settle in, or we may notice that material energy has placed yet another of her millions of obstacles on our path. As a result, we find our attention diverted from our spiritual pursuits. Sometimes we simply lose interest in them. The law of diminishing interest is fortunately as pervasive in this world as the law of gravity. If we see ourselves coming under this law of soft power, we will find it tremendously helpful if we have already made a contract with ourselves to protect our wise commitment to the spiritual side of the things. This contract is called Nirbandha. Srila Bhakti Vinoda Thakura states Nirbandha means that a practitioner should chant the 16 name 32 syllable Mahamantra on Tulasi Mala 108 times. Chanting 4 rounds is called one Grantha. One should start with one Grantha and gradually increase the number to 16 Granthas or 64 rounds. That will make a prescribed number of 100,000 holy names. By gradually increasing the number of holy names to 300,000, one will spend his entire life simply chanting. All previous acharyas have attained perfection by following this order of the Lord. Harinama Chintamani, chapter 12. This then the traditional way of progressing from preliminary to continuous chanting, and it gives us an idea how important it is to fix a certain number of rounds as a regular daily practice. By making this determination, we can definitely progress on our way. Another helpful practice for those who aspire to become more absorbed in chanting and thus more attached to it is to chant congregationally with mrudangas and kartalas. Congregational chanting quickly binds the mind to the holy name, and when the mind is bound to the name, the Lord becomes responsively bound to the devotee's heart. Chanting with other devotees allows us to experience a special type of joy, a joy that encourages us on our path. Initiation, is it necessary? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught that while formal initiation may not be necessary, It is essential to accept a guide if we wish to practice Nama Bhajana. The Bhakti Shakti we need to give our practice life travels through the heart of those devotees who have unflinching and exclusive faith in Krishna Nama. The mere letters of the name may be had at any place and from anyone, but the profound and unknown truth that is hiding behind these letters can only be exposed by the grace of a true spiritual master who is purely devoted to Krishna. The grace of a spiritual guide alone can help us pass over the from the early twilight of the name to the pure light of the divine names, and in this way save us from the 10 offenses that keep us from the true service of the name. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura Nama Bhajana. Only if we receive instructions and blessings, we will able to chant with attention, enthusiasm, and genuine joy. Um, So, in summary, today we read about the two types of chanter. One is a preliminary practitioner and continuous practitioner. So, when we start initially, and then with practice, when we reaches the stage of continuous practitioners. And also here it mentioned that um, Nirbandha means the practitioner should chant, you know, 16 name, 32 syllable Mahamantra and a Tulsi Mala, 108 times. And one should start with, chanting rounds, one Granda, like a 4 rounds, and eventually do 64 rounds, which is 100,000 holy names, and gradually increasing the number up to 128. And to advance in this path, right, from preliminary to continuous chanting and have the taste and all, one has to uh, associate with the advanced devotees. And also another helpful practice given is to with the chant congregationally with mrudangas and kartalas. And in the next session, next topic is the initiation. Is it necessary? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has told that one may not be initiated, one doesn't have to be initiated, to get a Krishna prema and chant, but but taking a shelter of a guru, spiritual master who has realized and practiced and who is a pure devotee, who dedicate his life for Krishna. By taking the initiation from them, they will make us easy for us not to do any nama paradas, and focus our mind onto Krishna and get the taste and guide us so that we can advance in our Krishna consciousness. So with that.